Hey y'all, welcome back to Breaking Firewalls and Glass Ceilings. I'm Tiffany, your resident tech-loving, glass ceiling shattering woman who refuses to stay in boxes people build for us. And today, we're going to talk about how I started my journey to get where we are now in the tech world. I thought my dream was engineering. I was wrong. If you've ever chased a dream only to realize it wasn't your dream, this one's for you. Why did I choose engineering in the first place? Honestly, engineering sounded impressive. I like breaking molds. I like doing things that people don't think are possible. I like proving people wrong. I love competition. When I started school in about 2010, it was a really difficult time to be a teacher. And my goal was to be an algebra teacher. I was really good at algebra. I liked tutoring. I had tutored math frequently. And I continued to do that while I was getting my associate. But unfortunately, that was a time that being a teacher was not great. There was very little teaching opportunities, and the financial compensation was horrendous, just like it is now. But that's another story. I was feeling like I had to worry myself about my mother's long-term needs. So I felt like I needed a decent paying job. I didn't know if there was ever a way I would get away from my mom and start my own journey, but I thought making good money is a good step. I didn't want to work hard for the degree to struggle to get a job after. So teaching wasn't the way. I ended up starting in gen ed because I didn't know right away where I wanted to go. I took a couple classes and ended up switching to engineering. I love math and science, and I wanted to do something that I would be proud of. I definitely did not expect engineering to be what it was. I expected engineering to be more like numbers. I think that when I heard engineering, math, and science, I thought accounting. I don't know what I initially thought. I knew I was up for anything. It was mostly hardware, and the only coding involved was in my introduction to computer science, computer engineering class I had to take. And that was just C++. That was nothing. So looking back, I definitely thought it was going to be more about numbers. I ended up being scared about taking chemical engineering classes, but I ended up very much loving those classes. It was chemical, computer, structural, mechanical, and several other engineering types. It was a general engineering degree. It covered all the aspects, so you could go back and think, which one did I like the most, and then go with that subset when you decide to move into university. The reality of being a woman in engineering. Classrooms were dominated by, I want to say men, but really they were boys. I was about 26, 28, and most of the kids I was around regularly were between 18 and 20. And they were all boys. Every time you would walk into one of like the high tech engineering classes, not like a general education class, but like physics, calculus 2, or statics, the men would look at you and gasp, like not like, oh, let me get to know her. Like, what the hell is she doing here? So it was surprising in the beginning, and then it was subtle, and then it was not so subtle. It was definitely a sexist vibe. It was very concerning. I did have a professor once that like said out loud that he was surprised I was there. So, but mostly it was just me and another awesome girl that was going for engineering too. Her name was Emily. She was beautiful and so smart, and we clicked pretty fast. It was nice to have another girl to hang out with, to study with, to go back and forth with terms. She was really an amazing friend. I was really happy to have met a woman that was going similar direction that I was in education and dealing with the same type of nonsense that I would deal with, like the microaggressions or those "are you lost" vibes. Yeah, I think that the boys tried to make you feel out of place. Some of them did, and then other boys just did not care. And it was nice to see many men not care that there was a woman around you. It was 50, to be honest, the vibes that I got. Sometimes they would treat you like you could be their next girlfriend, and then when you explained you had no interest in that, they never want to talk to you again. Or on the other side was men that just didn't want you to be there. I would really love to have Emily on the podcast eventually, and she can talk about the direction that she took. Emily ended up going straight to university after the associate's degree. She landed a really great gig I went to her wedding. She is a wonderful person. Emily, if you're out there, I love you. I had a great time in engineering school. I'm happy that you found such happiness in your life because you deserve it, girl. You're smart. I used to call her the hot chick. Like, oh, look, it's the hot chick before we became friends because Emily had it going on. Like, oh, look at the hot chick. Oh, she's so smart. And now she's still in my phone as the hot chick. I miss you, Emily. I'm so happy you found success. Balancing school and life. When I got my associate's degree in engineering, it was not a good time for me. Thinking back on it, I'm very proud of that degree, but it also brings back very triggering, unhappy memories. My mom was not working at the time for at least half of it. I was working, and my grandmother was giving us rent money while my mother was attempting to get approved for disability. We went through an extreme bout of poverty. During this time, the dog was eating better than I was most days, which is not triggering at all for me to feel less than my mother's dog. My mother had to feed the dog oven-baked chicken thighs every day. So we had almost no money, but we could afford to give the dog oven-based chicken thighs every day instead of just dry food. That's how my mother was, eccentric, and her dog was the most important thing, even though she claims it was me, but, whatever. I met Kevin during the end of these struggles, right before my mother got approved for disability. Kevin is now my husband, and we have 2 children, but I honestly didn't think that Kevin and I would make it because Kevin came from a life of normal parents and a great family and consistency and stability. I didn't know any of that. You never knew where my day was going to go depending on mom's mood. If mom was in a good place, life was great and fun and exciting. If mom was in a bad place or drunk, I didn't want to live. There were multiple times during Easton, Pennsylvania, while getting my associate's degree, that I was suicidal and thought about killing myself. It was a really dark, hard time for me. So that's why I say it wasn't a great experience for me, but I'm happy I did it and I don't regret it because it led me to the tech industry. It gave me more strength than I thought I had, that I got through that, and I ended up pulling myself out of it. The lesson I learned from that was that I didn't want to rely on anybody for money, but I obviously didn't learn that because then I had children and relied on my husband. But at the end of the day, when everything is done, 8 more classes, I will finally have freedom and not have to rely on anybody financially because I have not had that my whole life. I've relied on either a parent or a husband. It is one of my biggest goals is to be financially capable of myself. The last winter in that house, we had no hot water or heat for at least a month. Showering at a friend's house is embarrassing and humiliating, even if the friend is amazing and would never tell other people what you're going through. I had to eventually tell Kevin how bad my life was, but I waited until we got the hot water and heat turned back on because it was less embarrassing for me. School is always really difficult for me without medication because I was diagnosed with ADHD young. I've been on almost every type of medicine out there. And when I was a child, I didn't like it because it took away my personality and I like being wild. Now I don't like that. And I love it and how it milds out the personality. But during the time of engineering degree, I had no health insurance. When we lived in Easton, I didn't have health insurance for most of it because we could not afford that. But as I said, the dog ate chicken every night. Anyways, so I was not able to get on ADHD medicine. I tried multiple times to get help since we were so poor. I would get through the whole process of getting approved to get some help financially. And then at the end of it, they say, we don't prescribe that kind of medicine. So it was also during the time it was really hard to get it, even if you were diagnosed as a child. Luckily, it's not hard now, knock on wood, because it is a tool that I don't know how I got through engineering associates without it. It helps me focus. It helps my brain not wander. It helps me to be able to think before I do, which is very rare in my life. Easton was hard, but Easton made me strong. But balancing school and life was impossible for me because life wasn't just life. Life was survival, and nobody knew. Nobody. When you knew it wasn't for you. My breaking point was physics. Physics was at the very end, and at the very end, I don't know how. I think that it was only due to my grandmother's financial assistance, but I was able to not work and just go to school for an entire semester or 2. And I got a really great scholarship from Northampton Community College because it was the first time I was finally able to go full time. I was never able to do that because I was working full time and going to school part time. But I had to go at least part time to ensure that I got student loans and Pell Grants. I was struggling to understand concepts in physics, and I was very burned out at that point with all the other things we were struggling with. And it most likely was a time where we didn't even have hot water and heat. So trying to handle anything with that felt the material was the hardest part for me because there were parts of the material I couldn't comprehend no matter what I did. And I couldn't connect with the material. It felt like I was forcing a relationship. But it was too late and I had to finish out the degree. I never once thought about not finishing the degree. I never thought about quitting, which is good, but I just knew I had to power through it. I was determined to better my life and make my own existence, even if I hated it. Looking back, it's too bad I didn't switch to IT then and there, but who knows where I'd be if I had. Lessons you took from engineering school anyways. The biggest lesson is to not be afraid to ask for help, especially when you're struggling. You should be able to find someone or even a professional to share your struggles with. There are a lot of opportunities at universities and even community colleges with mental health assistance. Please don't struggle alone. For anybody out there that's listening and struggling and feels like their life will never get better, that's not true. It will. You just have to struggle and be sad for a while, and it can get better, especially if you can do things to better your existence. That was the biggest lesson I learned, and sharing struggles with somebody. Another one is don't judge a book by its cover. Emily, hot chick. Women are just as good as men. We just need more confidence. I think the lack of women in STEM doesn't come from a lack of ability. It's a lack of awareness that we're capable of this. These type of skills helped me into the next part of my life, into computer science, but also in my life in general. Meeting new people, not judging them first, like I judged Emily. Love you, Emily. Feeling more confident to say what I'm struggling with out loud. But to be honest, it's still a time, and I don't feel like we've come far enough since then, where mental health is looked at in a negative light. I'll never understand why physical hurting and mental hurting are so different for people. If you know somebody that was in a car accident and struggling with things after that, and you feel more sorry for them than the person that's struggling with depression and doesn't know how they're going to survive, something's wrong with you. It's completely normal to struggle with mental health. And if you only have people in your life that are telling you that you're weird or something's wrong with you, you need new people and you need to go see a doctor and get some help. I finally feel, after almost 40 years, that I'm on a good medicine management program. I found a good psych and I'm on good medicine management. How it shaped who you are. Engineering school made me strong. It showed me that I can do anything if I put my mind to it. It showed me don't quit, even when it's hard, figure it out. It turned me more confident. It helped me become more confident, but it also did not. I was really happy with the engineering degree, but I didn't want to go back to school after that because school was such a horrendous time for me. We struggled so hard financially. It was so hard to study sometimes. I didn't want to go through that again. I was moving in with my boyfriend at the time, trying to decide what's next for me, as well as it helped me get strong and helped me start that tech industry lifestyle. It just wasn't for me. The hardware aspect of it, I didn't enjoy. I didn't want to be fixing computers or, soft or anything else like that. I didn't want to work on computers. Advice for other women in male-dominated fields. It's not easy, but it's worth it. It's hard when we're constantly doubted. It's difficult when people judge you on instinct. I will never understand why men are the way they are, that men like that. And I'm not saying that all men are like that. They're not. There are plenty of secure, happy men out there that respect us. I had lots of friends in engineering school that were men. Most of the guys that I hung out with, they were younger, but they were all very nice guys. None of the guys that I hung out with that I'm probably still Facebook friends with were ever hateful or disrespectful to me or Emily, and that's why we spent time with them. There was one guy that would constantly hit on us, and it's like, to me, that's just as bad as the vibe of I'm not smart enough to be in the same field as you, is that I'm only here for you to hit on me. And once I let you know I'm not interested, then I'm not worth anything. I hate that vibe too. And he gave out that. We are not here only for men's enjoyment. We are not only here to make babies, but you are allowed to do whatever you want in your life. That's why it's your life and it's your body and you get to do whatever you want. I fully support anybody's choice in their life, whether that be who you are in love with, whether that be your religion, where you go to school, what you study, if you have children or not, if you stay at home with your children. I encourage you to do what's best for you. But I also encourage you, if you feel like you regret something or there's more for you out there, don't give up hope on bettering your life. You're never stuck in a position, even if you feel like you can't get out of it. There's always ways to move forward. Even in this type of environment, this cultural environment that's happening right now with President Trump, us ladies are capable of anything. I don't know if some men are jealous that they can't make the babies and they'll never be as important as us to society, but I don't care. I don't care anymore. I never take what they say in a negative way. I take it in a way of, okay, I'm going to prove you that I'm as good as you, if not better than you. They truly do not like being told that you're smarter than them. Well, that's it for me. This is the end of our episode. I hope you enjoyed hearing about engineering school, episode 3. I aced engineering and hated every circuit. I'm really happy that you guys are coming down on this journey with me, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much. Have a great day.